Hello everyone, and welcome to the Academic Support Center's presentation on how to organize the writing process of a research paper. While this presentation does not necessarily cover the grammatical or citation part of writing, it is still important to make sure that the other steps of the writing process are organized and accounted for from the beginning. The first step for any research paper is to find a topic that you want to work with. One of the most important parts of brainstorming a topic is to find a way to connect the topic back to your interests. These interests can be personal or connected to your major, but it should be something that you are passionate about. If you are trying to write about a random topic or something that you think is a snooze fest, the writing process is going to feel draining and you might disengage from your writing. It is also possible that professors might assign topics instead of allowing other choices. But even when the topic is determined for you, there is usually an angle or approach to the topic that will still allow your interests to shine. From there, you can take the time to search up your topic using Booth Library's databases or even a simple Google search just to see what is out there about your topic. It doesn't have to be anything too in-depth to start, but it is nice to have a sense of what academic articles you might be able to use for sources later on. I also highly recommend meeting with your professor to brainstorm topics as well, especially since they are familiar with the assignment description and the research that might be available for your topic. Now that you have your topic, you can begin the research process and find sources for your paper. As I mentioned on the previous slide, you may be able to use some of the sources that you found during your first search, but it is important to dive back in a second time or more to make sure that no source is left behind. It's possible that you might find sources that do not support your original thesis idea or topic, but it is always okay to adjust what you will be discussing in the paper since it will be supported by the research in the end. Booth Library has tons of databases, and some of them are even content specific, so it is important to look through multiple databases and use the filters that are available to further streamline the research process. This level of research is going to take time, and even shorter papers still involve the research process. Instead of trying to find all of your sources in one day, break up the research process into smaller chunks based on the due date for the assignment. For example, if you need to have 10 sources for your paper, you could divide up the research process by finding at least 2 sources a day, which means that you would have all of your sources after 5 days. It is also okay to work ahead if you are finding plenty of resources on a particular day, but you would at least have a minimum number to strive for and keep you on track before the assignment deadline. So now you have all of this information and ideas in mind, which means that the next step is going to be to create an outline. Writing a paper can be difficult when you have a bunch of sources blurring together and ideas bouncing around, but the outline can help to organize all of the chaos for a faster and smoother writing process. Outlines can vary from super detailed to just the main information, but what matters the most is that the outline fits your needs when it comes to the writing process. Some examples of this may include outlining what each paragraph is going to talk about, adding in quotations and citations into the outline so you don't have to search through your sources again, color coding the paragraphs, or even simply providing a rough overview of the points that you want to cover in the paper. Outlines can help you save a ton of time compared to writing a paper from scratch, and this will also free up more time at the end for revising the paper before it is submitted. Here are 2 examples of outlines that have similar information. As you can see, both of these outlines follow a typical 5-paragraph essay structure. And while most of your papers in college are going to be more than 5 paragraphs, the content will remain the same. The one on the right is color-coded, along with focusing on the subject and supporting details of those paragraphs, while the one on the left goes into a bit more detail about what facts, comparisons, or commentary will be included in each of the paragraphs. It is important to remember that your outline may not look like this, but the beautiful part about outlines is the flexibility and structure that they can provide. And finally, the last step is going to be writing the paper itself. The outline is going to provide guidance, but we also need to look at how the writing process can be broken down as well. The length of your research paper may vary depending on the course or your major, but the amount of pages can still be broken down over a period of time no matter what the length is. If we use a similar example from earlier, we can take a 10-page paper and divide it up by writing 2 pages a day, which means that the entire paper would be finished in 5 days. You could also write more than 2 pages if you want to keep the flow of thoughts going or be finished with the paper sooner. This helps to take an assignment that feels impossible to complete and transforms it into work that can be completed in a short amount of time. While this process still revolves around the deadlines of the assignment and allowing time for revisions, the amount of time that will be saved by the end can then be used elsewhere. It is also important to take breaks when writing, or if you feel like you are stuck and can't put a single word onto the page. You could try out some free writing exercises that help to get the brain moving before jumping back into the writing process. There are also additional resources on campus that can help you with the writing process outside of organization. The Writing Center, which is located in Coleman Hall, is great for helping with brainstorming topics, revising and suggesting edits for papers, helping with citations, or any other writing needs that you might be concerned with. Booth Library not only has the online resources, but they also have librarians who would be more than happy to help you find sources for your topic, and there are even content-specific librarians that can help with the research and writing process within your major too. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation today, and we hope that you will consider checking out these resources and the Academic Support Center soon.